Hey guys, welcome to the cast. And it's just week, but hopefully we'll be back for the next one. But we were talking about one of my favorite topics: kitchen nightmares, Gordon Ramsay, Hell's Kitchen. But really, we're just focusing on the premiere and the return of Kitchen Nightmare. And Amy, what's your history with Gordon
I
Ramsay with these shows?
I kind of feel like we need to open this podcast episode with like, "Welcome back to the Legendary Ladies podcast. This
I don't.
week, Gordon Ramsay joins the Legendary Ladies to learn just what's cooking in their kitchen." Like, I want to be unnecessarily dramatic about it.
Hey, you're welcome too. I don't know if I have the voice for that one, but I don't remember. Is there is there a narrator? I think
Yeah, like
there is.
at the beginning it'll be like Gordon Ramsay meets three brothers in a toaster strudel competition to get the best diner in downtown Miami. I don't know why Toaster Strudel Brothers are in downtown Miami, but that is what popped into my brain. um so here's the thing. I have seen like sporadic Gordon Ramsay things. I have seen sporadic Kitchen Nightmares episodes. I had seen sporadic like uh, what's the big one that he does? Master Chef. That's him, right?
I haven't. Yeah, that is him. I haven't even seen any MasterChef. Believe it or not, I like him a lot, but I haven't seen it.
Honestly, it was like when I was at someplace getting an appointment, and it was what was playing on the television, kind of a thing, or it was playing in the background of a bar or whatever. That's when I've seen those episodes. But all you ever see, at least a couple years ago, was the caricature of him being, over the top and really critical and all the cussing and everything. And you're like, this is hilarious.
The commercials definitely.
They hype it up.
They always cut. I remember when I was younger, we'd watch American Idol a lot, and right after, I think it was like Hell's Kitchen, my mom's like, "Oh, Gordon Ramsay's such a bad guy. He's always yelling. I have no interest in that show." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess I don't either." And then obviously when I got older, well, all right, we can talk about how I found Gordon Ramsay was YouTube actually. So the Kitchen Nightmares episodes
This
were
doesn't
just on
surprise me,
YouTube. Yeah,
actually,
and
about you at all.
yeah,
This
I
really
like
shouldn't, this
YouTube.
shouldn't surprise any listeners that
No,
Kat, who regularly watches people eat food on YouTube, discovered Gordon Ramsay through YouTube, because YouTube and food plus Kat is like the golden trifecta. It's
it
perfect.
is. It's just it's what I love to do in my free time. And it was a while ago that I found that. I was like, "Oh, that's fun." And I didn't watch all of it. Like I remember I watched a good chunk of it. I watched like all the classics. You have the Amy Bakery episode.
Stories.
That's a great episode. But I was like, "Oh, let me go check out Hell's Kitchen." Back in the day, I remember that show. Maybe it's on Hulu. Let's see what's about. And that was my thing. I loved the formula of it. I really enjoyed it because you get to learn about the contestants. You stick with them for a while. I mean, you
Yeah.
stick with them for 16 episodes. And I just love the challenges. I enjoy that show a little bit more. But I was happy to hear this was coming back. Obviously, this is coming back because there's not any other television shows that are out because of the strike. And luckily, we could say that
Mm-hmm.
the writer strike is over and
Yes,
they got everything they wanted. So very happy about
dude.
that.
Were you able to read the full contract?
Yeah, yeah.
I am kind of blown away. Like, I know that everything is still in flux, and that we're still growing and everything, but
And SAG is still on
yeah. But
strike. So
honestly, like, these writers for the last 146 days, I believe,
mm,
put their everything on the line, and quite literally, hopefully, if things continue to grow, are responsible for the good growth that is going to happen in this industry. I'm so proud of every one of them.
yeah, no, I'm so happy about it.
Let's cook them
And
some food.
yeah,
Let's cook them some Gordon Ramsay.
let's see some Gordon Ramsay writer strike episode where he just goes to everyone who was on the strike and give food to them.
I'm
Um,
sure he did. Like, I'm sure that like his fish and chips place in New York. I am sure that at some point Gordon Ramsay provided food for writers.
You'll have
At
to
some
let us
point, I'm
know,
sure
guys, if
we'll have to
you
figure
if
it
you
out.
know. Yeah, I honestly forgot about his fish and chips place in the city. I've never been to that one, but it does
Yeah,
seem
you
like
gotta
more of
go.
like your takeout. So
Yeah,
that's why I rather like do the sit down thing.
I learned about Gordon Ramsay outside of like the commercials. Actually, during COVID, they had that MasterClass, the
Yeah,
MasterClass.com
yeah. I
specials.
remember you talking about that
I was
MasterClass.
so
Yeah.
excited because I was like, oh, there's like all kinds of cool stuff. And initially I got it for the Natalie Portman one. But then I was like, oh, there's Gordon Ramsay masterclasses for cooking. And he's so delightful.
No,
And
he's
he had these
great.
amazing recipes. And I cooked one of them. And to this day, it is probably one of the top 5 things I've ever cooked in my life. I absolutely love cooking it. I learned how to make a chicken pan sauce. Oh gosh, what's it called? There's a secret. Veal demi glaze. That is the secret. Huh. Thyme, a little bit of garlic, butter, more thyme. It's delicious.
He's a
But
good teacher, you know.
he's a
That's
great
yeah.
teacher. And so my perception of who this individual was changed based on that. And so I started going back to these things where I was like, he's just a jerk and he's doing all these things for ratings. I went back and reevaluated that and actually kind of fell in love with the whole concept of um,
The
kitchen
show.
nightmares
Mm.
because of the fact that you get to see, yeah, sometimes he loses his shit,
But he's just trying to help them
but
out.
he
He's
really is.
yeah.
Like, that hit me so much in this first episode. Because this first episode, this was a great, great
I
premiere.
I definitely want to talk about the first episode. Another thing, just going back to Hell's Kitchen
Yeah.
for a second. One thing that's really interesting is that they do interview a lot of the people that are on the show. I've seen interviews here and there, and there's not been one person who said that he is a bad person. They said he brings you under your wing, and a lot of times when he gets angry at you, it's because the things you don't see off on camera is that he's teaching you this whole entire time.
Yeah.
He's literally being your mentor. Like all those things that you're seeing where it seems like they just learned it that day, he's been teaching them for 2 weeks. It's just
That's
like he's
cool.
yeah, which is really interesting.
I didn't know that.
And obviously he hires a lot of those people. So the whole point of that show is that he hires the winner, and the
Mm-hmm.
winner of last season, he's working at the Atlantic City Steakhouse. Another interesting thing, which I don't know if Amy knows, but I have actually met Gordon Ramsay.
What?
Yeah. So before I was a fan of the show, like way before, I was invited to a Fox up front. And there was just opportunities to like go meet anybody because I forget why I was invited because there was an X-Men show coming out and they're like, oh, we know you do stuff, go at it. And he was there and I met him and I
Was he
got to
just
like
delightful?
yeah, he was great. I got a picture with him and everything, but that was, like, before I watched the show or really knew anything. I was just like, "Oh, it's cool. I got to meet Gordon Ramsay," but
Have
I
you?
didn't uh-huh.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was like, "Oh, I wish I met him, like, when I had something to say." You know?
Have you seen any of his like TikToks with his daughter or like any of the TikToks he does where he
I've
evaluates other
heard
people's cooking?
I've heard
They're
of
pretty
them, and I
cute.
think what's very interesting, and we'll talk about this episode too, he's very in the know of social media, and obviously that's how he grew this brand even further, and that's Kitchen Nightmares
Mm-hmm.
too. Is that would anyone remembered Amy's Bakery or that show in general, the second rate Gordon Ramsay show that so happened to be on Fox, if it wasn't for YouTube where people
Yeah.
could watch it for free, and that was just so smart of him. And I know again you're just saying he does TikToks on Hell's Kitchen. They'll do some episodes where it's like, oh, present your dish if it was on TikTok or whatever. So he
Yeah.
knows it's important because it is, especially in the food industry. It's so Instagram, like I'm not even an Instagram person, but if you have a restaurant and you don't have an Instagram or a good Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
you're dead in the water.
I've done social media like work before for people, and the ones that have been the most successful, and frankly, I've had the most fun doing, are for restaurants or like delis or things like that. Because not only is it really fun to like, I'm the nerd who I'm like sitting there angling the sandwich with the perfect lighting with the right chips, and I'm like, oh, I look like such a nerd. But I gotta tell you, it looks real cool when it ends up on an Instagram and people get like discounts if they come and show it. That to
Well,
me
that's
is
cool.
really fun. And so I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. So I
And you
thought
get
it
to
was
see
really
the
cool.
food because sometimes you like see
Yes.
someone on the menu and you're like, oh, I don't know if I'll like that
Yeah.
or not because I don't know what it looks like. And I'll go on like their Instagram and be like, oh yeah,
Yes.
that looks up my alley. Like I'll eat that. Or it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
I don't that wouldn't have been for me.
And I think something that this first episode reminds us of is how valuable it is to see things behind the scenes.
There's some
It's
rude awakenings on that one where you're
woo!
like, I don't know if I would have wanted to eat there.
And so, like, I liked when I did social media for it was called Gus's Grocery. One of the things that we did is I ended up back behind in the cooking area, and I was taking pictures and videos as they were cooking. And I was like, if
That's
we
cool.
are okay posting this, that means that we are showing that this is an area that really values, values their customer and values the quality of product that they're putting out. Unlike this episode of Kitchen Nightmares. What is it, Bel Air? That was a little
Don't go in
scary.
that kitchen. Yeah, don't go in that kitchen. I felt
Holy moly.
this episode was interesting because I think they could have went one or two ways because this is the premiere of a new kind of a new return, I'd say, of a show. It's not a new show, and we'll talk about the structure of it and if it was a good return. But you could have done the Amy's Bakery episode. That if anyone doesn't even watch a House or a Nightmare Kitchen Nightmare, I'm always gonna get confused with
Hell's
the two
Nightmare
shows.
and Kitchen.
Hell's Nightmare.
Yeah,
Kitchen Night.
it would just be Kitchen.
Nightmare Kitchen. Yeah, but if you've never seen the show, you'd be like, oh, I know about Amy's Bakery. So it either could have been a crazy person or it could have been really heartwarming. And most of the time, these episodes are heartwarming. They're not really trying to. Gordon Ramsay's not trying to make sensational reality television, even though it feels like he is. He does. I think it is more about the emotions. You want to. It's like, oh, these two
He wants
brothers
them
don't
to
like each
succeed.
other. Yeah, and I think that so interesting is like I wonder which ones did and which ones didn't and why they didn't. I know there's obviously shows, I'm sure, or episodes from previous seasons where they followed it for a little while and then they end up closing. But it was cool to see what happened after. Like, oh, they got their groove on. Like, I kind of wish. Obviously, you're not going to do it on a reality show to be like, oh, actually, it failed. Gordon Ramsay's thing didn't work. But I wonder how many actually do succeed.
There are definitely some. I went down a rabbit hole. There are some like YouTube videos about like the like I think they've done Kitchen Nightmare follow-ups where
Yeah.
they've like gone back to check on restaurants and some of them have not. Like some of them they went back to their old ways or they just weren't able to make up the cash or it was a hit at first and then something major changed. But a lot of it is like literally they just went back to their old ways. The feuding family who was so good for 2 days in front of the camera started feuding again.
Yeah, like
or an
how do
individual
you fix
left.
that? That
Yeah.
honestly, I'm curious about that with this episode because you don't really have a true resolution with
Yeah.
the brothers.
We don't.
Where, and first of all, $50,000 this boy's getting for doing nothing. I that wowed me. I was like that was crazy. But yeah, the younger son, he doesn't really do anything to help. You could tell it really was on the older
Yeah.
brother, and he continues to really be it. And he's like the resolution of the character arc of the younger brother is that, oh yeah, I guess he helped for that one day and he said a nice thing to his brother, but his brother was doing all the work.
Yeah, I could see. I would be really curious to see how the family changed. But what was more interesting for me about this episode, so spoiler alert, anybody who's listening to our recording right now, we're going to talk about the spoilers. So the thing that was interesting to me about this episode is that he chose not to focus on, quite frankly, how appalling the line cooks seemed to be at their jobs. Like, I think first off, there was a lot of stuff going wrong. Like, they only had 42 minutes for this episode. He had to pick. He chose the family stuff, and he chose the basement of doom.
The basement was definitely the big. We first of all, before we get into that, we do have some comments from new Rachel. Thank you for being a patron. Really appreciate it. I've seen some comments that people who want something less sensationalized should watch the British Kitchen Nightmares, which so interesting is like I don't think this was that sensational.
No,
there's some, but you watch Kardashians, you watch Jersey Shore, you watch those type of stuff. That's sensational. This is not that sensational. New Rachel says, is Amy's Baking Company the only episode where Gordon actually walked out and refused to help someone?
So I don't know if it's the only one, but I'd like to clarify. He asked them, do you not want me to be here? And they said no.
Yeah.
They were like, nope, you know what? He's like, if you're not going to listen to me, I feel like I can't help you. What do you want me to do? And they were like, go. And he was like, all right, fine. You know what?
It's such a good episode. It's one of the best episodes
wild.
of reality television.
It's so wild.
Because honestly, obviously the show has a structure, right? Gordon goes in to see what the problem is. They fight a little bit, not Gordon, but usually the family or whoever's interacting in the restaurant. Gordon says, "This is how you get your shit together." He remakes the restaurant. They try one round of, "This is how you do it. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see if you continue." They do a little epilogue.
Revamps
With
the menu.
Amy's, what's really cool about Amy's Baking Company is they only do part one of that because
Uh-huh.
that's all they shoot, and it's so ridiculous what's happening that it happens for 40 minutes.
Yeah, you cannot believe the stuff that goes on in that episode. But this is not about Amy's Baking Company. But if you guys really, if you just want to be like, can this really be real?
Sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure is. You're like, it's this seems like an SNL skit. Watch Amy's Baking Company. It is available on YouTube. All the original season is. Um, but this episode where we've got the family, we've got the mom and the dad, and they're trying to pass on the Bel Air diner onto the two brothers. The one brother is
How
taking
did the
over.
mom and dad make so much money with the diner that doesn't seem like it was ever fit?
But did you see how crowded it was all
I
the
know
time? It's in a
why.
great location.
Okay.
Like, it's a great location, and I believe it was 24 hours.
Okay, so that
So,
helps.
and that makes a big deal. Like, I could see even if the food was just
But some people
then
just is like at 1 o'clock drunk and they're like, "I just
it
need some food."
exactly. I'm sure that it did really well originally, and I think part of it too is I would have loved to know more of the history because at multiple times Gordon like looks at the dad and he's like, "Is this the menu you started? Is this the food that you started?" And it was clear
Right.
that no. So it's degraded, and obviously that was the problem is that it has declined and the place is not doing well. But it was I've always wondered, like in episodes like this, like I would love to see the behind the scenes. I would love to see Gordon Ramsay, because obviously those cooks would have had to learn how to make his dishes. I would have
Yeah.
loved to see him being like, "Hello, 15 line cooks. Let's teach you how to make the perfect eggs Benedict." So that Cal, who was not a chef, he was just running the back area, could be like, "Hey, this is what he taught you to do it better." Like, I would have liked to see that, but I guess that's not the general premise of this show. Or maybe it would have been if the basement wasn't a disaster. Maybe if they needed to fill more time, kind of
I
a
think
thing.
it depends on if the main character is a chef, main character is in like the person who
Good
owns the
point.
place. They because I've seen episodes where they do that, where they'll show in this particular, because obviously he wanted to promote his new fish and chips shop. That's why he went there. They went there.
Clearly.
Um, but normally, from what I remember, it was usually that where he'd like teach the meal to the chefs or the head chef and be like, "This is how you do it, and this could be a good meal." Not all the dishes, but usually one dish like he did in the fish and chip place. But I really want to talk about one of the like the main topics of for me for this episode was going to be why this succeeds compared to, let's say, a Fuller House or any show that returns. Any, I
You
mean,
got
Sex in
it.
the City. Like, why does this succeed? And the reason it succeeds obviously is Gordon Ramsay has not been out of shape in reality television. He still has
Hmm.
continued to do it. We've seen him
Yeah, he never
since.
really left.
Yeah, he never left. So you're used to him, right? That's one. And then two is that it's a formula, right? It's a formula that you can't really mess up. Like in a sitcom, sure, you can say there's a formula, but you always need to come up with new
Yeah.
ideas, or the characters have to kind of go somewhere. The comfort of reality television is that the same thing happens over and over again, and you want that to happen. Where you're like, okay, I'm watching the Real Housewives. If there's not a fight that's ridiculous, then it's
Yeah.
not a Real Housewives episode.
Yeah, if you're watching The Bachelor and he doesn't
Sure.
break some girl's heart at the last minute, someone doesn't walk in on them while they're doing something. Like, you expect these things. And I think that the attraction for me for this episode was that I'm always sitting there at the end being like, but is it going to work? There's so much of this like need I think that we as humans have to be like, "Oh, that's not going well." Oh, the coyotes are howling and my dog is too.
I'm he's also very excited
He is
for
very excited. So, like, I think there's a part of us as humans who want to watch stuff just go bad and fail and be like, wow, my life isn't as bad as that.
especially
Or,
reality TV.
wow, that really sucks. Can it get better? Oh, it does. Like, I like the concept of how you sit there and you go, this is insane. If Gordon Ramsay had not walked into that basement, but um a health inspector had, that restaurant would have been shut down, kaputs, done,
Sure.
forever, no saving it. Gordon Ramsay walks in and is like, you know what? Like, we never saw the clean basement. I would have loved to see in the clean basement,
It never
but
got clean.
he fixed it. That's the kitchen nightmare.
That's the kitchen
The kitchen
nightmare.
got fixed. The basement did not.
Not as much.
But I think there's like something really attractive about that concept of, wow, shit's hitting the fan. How is it gonna get resolved? And that there's that level of hope instilled with it that we as humans like to see. I like being like, wow, that things were not going well. You're worried for this family, you're worried for this restaurant, you're worried for the health of the individuals, and yet here we are succeeding and things got better. I think
There's
all
real
humanity is
drama.
looking for that hope.
There was real drama in these episodes too. Like, I think, again, this was a good first episode because you could kind of feel
Great
for, especially the main guy. The mom and dad you don't see too much, and then the brother wasn't my favorite person.
But Cal,
But with Cal, you
feel
felt for him. Yeah, you're like, oh, he really wants us to succeed. He really has pressure on him, and it was a good conversation. And I think Gordon is really good at doing that. He's good at having conversations with people and not sugarcoating things. That's how, obviously, the whole point of his brand. He's not going to say you're great when you're not, but he's like, well, you might not be great, but we can make you better. And we can make you succeed. He never says like give up. This, you close your restaurant. Then that sucks. It's like, no, there's always a way to be better. And yeah, no, I liked it. It reminds me that this is just such a wonderful little show that you can watch during the week if you're just trying to wind down. Again, it's just simple.
Watching it with dinner.
Yeah, I don't recommend that either. At least this episode in particular. I definitely don't recommend that. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and I do think, I want to say, it almost was better than the old episodes, because if you watch the old episodes, the camera quality is obviously not as good. So this is so many years later.
You know why I think one of the reasons that this one hits harder is because we have all just gone through COVID. It is not a few people in a few restaurants that you've never heard of who fell on hard times and things didn't work out. The entire world fell on hard times and things did not work out. And so now you've got that history of every human watching this feels for the restaurant in their hometown that closed down, remembers ordering out. And I'm reading this article from Deadline about this season, and one of the episodes that coming up in this season is about a family where it was their mom's dream to open a restaurant. So the sister retired early and put all his fortune into the restaurant, and they opened 5 days before the 2020 shutdown.
That's crazy.
And so he's like, this episode, it is gonna be just the essence of what our show is. So I think that hits harder for everybody because we have all just gone through that.
I'm curious also if this show came back because of COVID, because of Gordon, or did it really come back as a filler for the writing guild, for the strike?
Based on what I'm seeing here, the casting process was pretty intensive. The casting process went
it's been a while.
out. No, yeah, it's been a hot sec, because even just the before and after of this episode, the premiere episode, was 2 months later.
Okay,
so, like,
that's true. That's true.
The epilogue was 2 months later, so it looks like they had intentionally filmed this knowing that they were only going to be filming in the East Coast, New York, Jersey area.
Oh, and they're only filming all these episodes are just there?
It's consolidated in that region.
I can go to so many of these restaurants.
Yeah, you can, which is actually gonna be fun. So how did they choose the restaurants? He said, when our casting notice went out, it was very clearly a Gordon Ramsay renovation show. So we put a blast out to the areas we wanted to film in, which were New York and New Jersey. That was important for a couple of reasons. One was a practical standpoint.
The fish and chips.
Yep. The other is that it allows them to have a wide variety. And then this is the best part of the article. We also feel like East Coast people are a little freer with their emotions than the other part of the country, which tend to be a little bit more reserved, aka East Coasters here for the drama.
No, I mean, no, for sure.
he said that their main criteria was, does your restaurant need help? Like, that was the number one criteria. What do you need help with? Are the problems fixable? Is it something that Gordon Ramsay can go through? And that's what they chose it. So I am sure he always considered bringing it back. I would love to see like exactly when the casting was. I can keep digging if we want to, but it sounds like this was probably just a realistic. Gordon Ramsay probably looked at it and was like, dang, now's the time to bring it back. Like, the world has started to open back up again. Restaurants are not working. This is something I'm seriously passionate about. What can I do to help the humans in this industry? And I think ultimately that just goes back to Gordon Ramsay as a teacher, and as kind of like his base brand to begin with Kitchen Nightmares is, can I fix this? Can I help you? Can we solve this? And I could see him very much being driven to want to do this show again because of the deep innate desire he has to help this restaurant and this industry succeed. Like, he's so passionate about it.
When it comes to filming, what's interesting too for Hell's Kitchen in particular, they actually film 2 seasons in a row. So they'll just film the 2 seasons and I guess take a really long hiatus. So they'll do it back to back. And so like last season and this current season that's going to be airing, they were all filmed at the same time, which is kind of crazy. So I wonder if this is successful, if you could put a lot in the can and you could, again, reality television is just cheap, man. It's really easy to do. And again, he did something better for people, which is nice too. Like, again, do we need all reality television shows to give money to Kim Kardashian? Probably not. This is probably a better way to do reality television. And I'm glad that Gordon Ramsay, I want to say, has an even bigger empire than he did. I think Hell's Kitchen
Absolutely.
obviously was a popular show, but now I think, again, with social media, he has his own YouTube channel. But bringing this show back and obviously continuing Hell's Kitchen is such an interesting beast, because I'm like, am I the only one who watches this show? It doesn't ever. It's been on for so long. It's kind of like a Survivor aspect, where Survivor's been on for so long and it's so successful and they have such a cult following that it's like, oh yeah, of course people watch it. But it's not one of those things that everyone's talking about Survivor, but it's still like this staple
Yeah.
television show.
So I was digging, and it does look like this was filmed within the last couple of months. So
So I do
been,
think
it may have been a product. In which case, you know what? Hey, if a couple people, if a whole group of camera, if a whole, what is the word I'm looking for? Crew. If a whole crew got paid, hell yeah, go Gordon Ramsay. I love it.
no. I mean, that's something we're gonna be seeing a lot of as we gear, Dancing with the Stars, I think, is premiering in every which direction you can see. I saw a commercial where they're like, we're premiering on ABC, Hulu, and Disney Plus. I'm like, there's so much,
Hey, your
so much
marketer
Dancing
is
with the
wrong.
Stars. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
please, and now they are, so that's good.
And now they are, and they are not allowed to use AI, or there's some very specific rules, which is really interesting. Like, the studio's not allowed to have AI write it, but a writer can use an AI as a tool.
Interesting. I mean that helps the writer, so
which is a really valuable thing, because my brother is kind of in that industry, and he was talking to me about that. And he was like, AI is a tool, and there's gonna be, we had a long conversation about this strike, and he's like, there's gonna be a point where individuals are gonna need to start using AI as a tool. And that individuals who cannot use AI will be behind the times, and they will not be competitive. And I was like, that's like the people who kept holding on to flip phones instead of going to smartphones.
Sure, it's a major argument. It's just
it's
like, can you use it? It's like the internet. It's like, can you? There's bad stuff of the internet. There's good stuff about the internet. Like, you just
can
gotta
you make a
hopefully use
kid
it
have
wisely.
to use the library to get their research, or can you allow them to use Google, kind of a thing?
Yeah.
So it comes with the growth and the territory, but I'm really proud with how hard they worked to create at least some really solid boundaries and what they have in there. But anywho, I loved this. I'm gonna watch the rest of the season. This is entirely your fault, Kat.
I'm glad you should watch Hell's Kitchen now. I think it's even better than
I probably
Kitchen
will like
Nightmares.
it.
And it starts again. It starts really soon. I think it starts tomorrow. So
does it really?
Yeah,
oh,
Hell's Kitchen starts like this week, and it's on Hulu. All this stuff is on Hulu. It's free to watch, so go watch it.
I think the thing that I'm gonna find the most that I find the most entertaining about how much I enjoyed Kitchen Nightmares is that you guys know my general distaste for like things like Mukbangs and the Legends of Tomorrow episode where they were in the fast food episode. Like, I don't like that. But I absolutely love cooking shows. I think there's a difference on cooking shows versus eating.
Yeah, this is definitely more of like presentation, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
okay, a good example, Hell's Kitchen. Let's
Mhm.
go to the formula of that. Usually it's you get to see the two teams and they have to go out and do a challenge of some sort.
Mhm.
And it's usually like let them cook the dish they want to cook. And then one of the teams wins and they get to go on this extravagant trip. And then the other team does grunt work. And then the next section is that they do the dinner aspect. So Gordon Ramsay puts the 2 teams against each other, and they have to do a dinner, and
That's cool.
obviously they screw up a lot. And then whoever did worse, goes home, and that's literally the formula of Hell's Kitchen. And again, the biggest difference between something like that and a mukbang is no one's eating.
No one's
Um,
eating, yeah.
yeah, you're just seeing how pretty it is, and you just see honestly, you see how it is to be a line cook. It's more about
Yeah.
the aspect of, like, can you be a good line cook?
Mhm.
Can you be a good leader? That's really a big part of it too. But then you get to make them shine as an individual when they do
Yeah.
their challenges. So, and
I
also, of course, there's a little drama in between. Be like, this person doesn't like me, you know?
I think that these kind of shows, like, if you want to talk about the definition of good communication, it is an efficiently run kitchen. Like, I think that
Yeah,
that
for
is
sure, you have
that
to.
is to anyone interviewing to be in a restaurant kitchen, because I have so much experience with that. I would imagine that good communication is very high up on the interviewees.
Well,
Nicely done
that's definitely
answer.
a big part of Hell's Kitchen too. Is like one of
Mhm.
the huge things and why things always goes screwed up during the dining session is usually that someone's not communicating
Yeah.
and all the ships kind of they have to communicate to understand because
Mhm.
also restaurants and I think if you don't watch these shows or if you don't know a lot about restaurants, it's all about timing. Why do you think your food's
Yes.
hot and why do you think everyone's food comes out at the same time? So it's all about being able to communicate with each other
Dang it, now I really
how
want to
this
watch
cooks
this show.
quicker. You really should. It's like it's addicting. It is so good. And
I need a
it's
show.
kind of relaxing. It's just a really relaxing show and I love it. I truly do. I it's just my favorite show
Have
because it's
you have
mm.
you seen School of Chocolate on Netflix?
See, I don't like dessert shows as
Oh
much
no, you
because
need oh, you have to
I'll
watch
watch it.
this.
I'll watch it for you, but because
Watch
at least
watch like the
it's
first two
food.
episodes. Like, it's just because it's not desserty like you would think. It ends up being
Okay.
more sculptury, and like
Mm,
the technique of how he makes a literal 10-foot tall dolphin out of chocolate.
that's fun.
Um but they put people on teams, and at the end the team they learn a technique, and then they get assigned a project, and each team has to achieve the project using whatever technique he just taught them. So at some
Okay.
point you like, so if he teaches you how to write with a red pen in the technique class, you have to write with a red pen in the project, and he
So this
judges you
person's
not only
actually
on the overall
teaching
project.
them.
Yes.
It's not
So
just like,
yeah.
oh, these really good sculptors are
No.
going up against
Yeah,
each
the
other.
first half is, here's the lesson, now try the lesson, now incorporate the lesson. And then
Okay.
at the end, someone basically gets voted off the losing team.
Is this like a Netflix show?
Yes,
Okay.
it's really good, and eventually you're whittled down. And yeah, it's Amari. Oh, I cannot remember his last name, but yes, Rachel in our chat was like, "Is this the guy who makes the amazing sculptures on Instagram?" Yes, it is so cool.
I,
But the best part is that, like, the stuff genuinely is meant to taste good.
I like the competition shows. I have seen like kind of similar shows with like cakes where I'm usually like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I don't know if I'm like I just
No,
never was interested
you'll
in
like
that.
this one.
But this one sounds like at least it's teaching, and I'm like, okay,
And
that might be
it's got a
cool.
little bit of drama in it too. Like,
I do like a good
definitely same
drama.
thing. Like, why aren't they communicating well? Why, you're like, really, oh wow. Like, and some of it is artistry too. Like, the start of it is like, what are we going to design? We have 7, 12, however many hours. What are we going to do? It's really, really satisfying. It's kind of like, oh gosh, runway
Oh,
show,
Project Runway.
Project Runway meets, like, kitchen or Hell's Kitchen. That's kind of what it feels like, actually, based on
That's
what you're
fun
describing.
though. Yeah,
No,
no,
it's really good.
I like that. And
You'll enjoy it.
I yeah, usually the ones I like obviously Hell's Kitchen is the top, but I like, things like Iron Chef. I
Mm.
like I like competition shows about
Yeah.
savory food. That's what I tend to like more, just because that's what I like to eat. So, like,
Yeah.
when I see, like, "Oh, what are you gonna do with the salmon?" It's like, "Oh, I kinda wanna eat that."
Yep.
You
Speaking
know?
of, I'm getting hungry and I
Yes.
haven't eaten dinner yet. So I think we're getting ready to wrap up. By the way, I am making kebabs on a charcoal grill tonight.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, I'm very excited.
What type of kebabs? Are they, like,
They're gonna be
lamb? Are they
teriyaki kebabs.
chicken?
Oh,
Okay,
chicken.
okay.
Ooh, I've not tried lamb, but I can't afford lamb, so I'm eating chicken. Um,
Chicken is cheap and it's good to eat, so
it is, and excellent teriyaki with some really good Santa Maria seasoning, a little bit of garlic, a lot of red bell peppers on kebab skewers. Look, there's one thing I really splurge on, and it is kitchen supplies. So these are some hella good reusable kitchen skewers
I've been,
and knives.
I use the wooden ones usually
Oh
and
no,
just throw them out.
mine are like reusable ones where you clip the end and slide them off at the end.
Oh, nice. Oh, you don't
They're
like
so
eating it
nice.
on the kebab. I think as I've said it before on the show, but my kitchen is still being redone.
Yes.
So, I don't have a kitchen right now, so
Oh,
I've been
that's so sad.
relying on the grill a lot, and I feel like I've learned a lot about cooking on the grill,
Yep.
which is, obviously is very different than stovetop and all that,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something cool about it. Like, I think
Love grilling.
there's meats that you could cook that's like steak is really good on the
Mm-hmm.
grill. I actually cooked fish on the grill, and I definitely like cooking in the stove more, but I gave
You
it a
can do
different
it.
taste.
Yeah.
You could do it.
I could, if you told me I had to survive with only like a stove or a grill, I would choose a grill. Maybe not. I can't do rice on a grill.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
I
I
mean,
would be okay. Look, maybe a grill or an oven. How about that? I
yeah,
would
I
choose a
think
grill.
that
That's
I
more
could see
realistic.
that. I would still choose the oven because you could do more in the oven than you can with the grill. And
Yes and no, but I
as
cook
someone who's
so
been
much
living
on a
that
grill.
life, I miss an oven, and I haven't cooked on a grill. The only reason before this, I hadn't cooked on a grill in like 2 years. But
Really?
yeah, it was just like, oh, that sounds like a lot of work. I gotta clean it, and
Mm-mm.
then it's too much work.
No, I consider a grill to be less work. Maybe just
Less
because,
work than an oven. You gotta clean
yes.
it.
Yeah, but then you got to clean the pan out of the oven.
You could put foil on
That's true. You can put
it.
foil on your grill.
That doesn't sound good. Then you shouldn't even be using the grill.
But I think this is a good stopping point. So, Kat, you want to close us out?
Yes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Maybe we'll do a whole episode where we talk about cooking. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe
We
that'll be a
have
fun episode.
considered it as a Patreon episode.
That's
So,
true.
friendly reminder, you can follow us at patreon.com/the legendary ladies. And we have considered doing some like live cooking, just chatting while we cook
Yeah.
and having
When the
some
kitchen's
fun.
done.
Yeah, yes, that is true. So what you don't know is that Morgan and I will be cooking, and
All
Kat
right.
will just be watching us, or like
I
we'll have
don't
like a
know.
little hot plate.
That
We'll put a little hot plate
that
in
doesn't
your
sound
place.
fun for me.
You like
I'd be
watching people cook.
yeah, but if it's dinner time, I'd like to be
That is.
cooking. I would watch you eat, for sure, but and do a
Hmm.
mukbang. But what's coming up for you? What would you like to plug?
You guys can come and see me in a production of a musical adaptation of Sleepy Hollow. So we have a production starting on October 6th. It's called Welcome to Sleepy Hollow. It is a musical. It is family friendly. We've got cast members from ages 9 to very adult. Um, it's a great fun, spooky time, cool music, fun, romancy, cute little show that if anyone wants to come see it, I'm playing Katrina Van Tassel, which I'm very excited about. That's the female lead. It is at Oceanside Theater Company here in Oceanside, San Diego, California, United States, Earth. And you can find tickets at oceansidetheater.org. That's spelled Oceanside Theater, Theatre, theatre.org. And we would love for you guys to see it. Plays literally all of October. And if you are listening and you happen to want to get discounted tickets, I have a special discount code. So you can reach out to me on Instagram, Amy_HYP, Amy Hip. You can also email this podcast, thelegendaryladies@gmail.com, and I will send you the discount code. But I would love to see if anyone's in Southern California and you just want a good, fun, family-friendly, or date night kind of spooky Halloween thing to celebrate spooky season, come see Welcome to Sleepy Hollow. It's going to be awesome. And our set is so cool.
I'm excited to hopefully see something from it. Maybe hopefully are you guys gonna do any like social media stuff from it or
We have been doing some social media stuff. So if you guys follow Oceanside Theater, I think it's OTC Theater on Instagram. Let me triple check. Hold please, hold please. Surprise, surprise! It's Oceanside Theater Company on Instagram. You guys can see some cool behind the scenes stuff. We're starting to get pictures now that we're getting into the costumes and the dress. And guys, it's steampunk. The outfits are steampunk. And you want to know what's really cool? The playwright who wrote the lyrics, the book, the music, all of it, is also our costumer. She is also playing in it, and her son is in it.
Wow.
Heather's got a lot going on, but she's also a personal friend of mine and a friend of my family. So this has been kind of the coolest, wildest adventure for us. But yes, if anyone is interested in San Diego, please come see it. Let me know if you want a discount code. It literally is half off tickets, so it is a good discount.
Yeah,
Kat, what's going on for you? Doth thou have a Kickstarter?
I do right now. So I think we're halfway through it. The Dancer, she's a dancer / assassin. It's the last issue for this. It's kind of like if Batman went to therapy. So go check it out. I'm excited for you guys to read the end and see where it all lands. But that's it for us. We should mention the next couple episodes are gonna be our spooky season. So get ready for some horror, and it's my favorite year, and Amy gets to at least learn more about horror.
And that is a thing, because putting together my top 5 like favorite spooky season or horror things to watch, I had 5.
And that
includes like Jane Eyre.
Gothic.
Yeah, exactly. All of mine are Gothic choices, like Penny Dreadful. Ooh, I'm gonna make sure that's on my list. Penny Dreadful's good. We should watch Penny Dreadful. Maybe we'll watch Penny Dreadful. We'll not watch Penny Dreadful. I don't know if I can convince Kat to watch Penny Dreadful.
Probably not.
Crimson Peak is enough.
yeah. I think maybe you can save it for next year.
There you go. But yeah, so cool spooky season stuff coming up. If you are a Patreon listener, you're going to get an episode, actually the day that this is released, or sometime later this week, about Kat and my's best spooky season traditions. So you can learn all about how Kat and I spend October and Halloween. Do we dress up? You'll find out, but only if you're a Patreon. And you get that at any level, by the way. A lot of people think that you have to join at like the legendary listener level, which is the one that Rachel's at, where she can join us live on here. But all of our exclusive content, all of our behind the scenes things, that is on the basic level. So if you guys join us at the $5 level, you can automatically get access to all of those cool exclusive behind the scenes stuff. Sometimes Kat puts up snippets from her work. I'm hoping to actually put up some stuff for my show coming up.
That'd be fun.
So maybe Morgan will put like her top 10 gelato places that she visited whilst in Rome.
I would like to see that. I think we'll hopefully have to do an episode where she talks about her trip. So
yes, very excited to hear that.
We're promising for Morgan. Look forward to that.
Come join us on Patreon. It's oodles of fun. And if you join us at the $10 level and you have a recommendation for an episode you want to hear on the main feed, we'll probably do it.
Yeah, we've done a lot of recommendations. I know we have one from Fiona that we're banking, but because we had the spooky season, we had to wait a little bit, but we will be doing it. So, but thank you guys, and stay legendary.